Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
All right, everyone, we are back. We're back with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Can't wait to get into your questions that have come in over the past few months. We're picking back up. First question, it looks like I've just opened up the document now. It looks like it's coming in around September 12th or so is the first question. So again, about 12 weeks to 13 weeks behind on getting to all these questions. As always, please do send them into cabralsupportgroup.com for same day answers if you do need a faster response. So we are now 2,508 podcasts in. So I always like to say thank you so much for being along for the ride, for being on this journey with me. It's been a whole lot of fun. We've answered thousands upon thousands of your questions on the weekend, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So without further ado, as I like to say, let's dive into your questions. All things health and wellness and weight loss or gain, anti-aging, etc. All right. First question is going to be from Lorena. Lorena says, what are your thoughts on Anti EMR paint? Would you say it's legit at blocking EMFs? Okay. Yes. So EMFs are electromagnetic frequencies. These are things that are emitted by cell phone towers or cell phones or wireless routers, etc., right? A lot of smart-based devices. So what they've started to do is basically take a paint and they include metal particles in it. Typically for EMF room like wall paint, they use nickel. So they basically put nickel flakes in the wall. And the way that this works, because like there's a weighted blanket that I have, there's actually a lot of great products that they weave in copper or they weave in silver. And what happens is the frequency hits the wire and it stays there so it doesn't hit you. So the goal of the EMF paint is because these things can penetrate walls, like without a doubt. So, or you wouldn't have Wi-Fi in your, bedroom or living room if your wireless router is like on a different floor, right? So they definitely penetrate to a certain degree. 5G is actually the weakest wavelength of penetration to date, actually compared at least to what I know, which is 3 and 4, but it's the strongest overall. So very strong, but the wave isn't as long, which is why they have to have so many 5G, towers around. Okay. But we'll save that for another day. I probably just got banned because I said that, but it is what it is. So yes, they do work. Now it's varying degrees of how well they work. And the reason is that you need a fair amount of nickel, like metal in there, in order to be able to block all the EMFs. So yes, they block EMFs. To the degree remains debatable, but the nice thing is it's very easy to test. So I have 2 different types of EMF testers. They both do basically the same thing. One's just a little bit more expensive, and I would say easier to read because you can switch between the different units like radiation, frequencies, etc. And those you can always find at stephencabral.com/resources. Those are excellent. And so you're actually able to test it. You can just stay in the same place in your bedroom after you paint the walls or whatever room you're in, and then you'll see how well it works. You might need a second coat or a third coat. And I've used these since my daughters were young. That's how we figured out that their baby monitors were one of the highest EMF producers, and we had to move that way away from where they were in bed. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Bridgette is up next. Hi, Stephen Cabral. I am a student of yours and taking the integrative health practitioner course. I can't thank you enough for all of the work you have done and continue to do. I thank God for you. I am thoroughly enjoying this course, and I am in awe of how much prep work you have done for all of us. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much, Bridgette. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I am physically feeling the best I've felt in years. I have a question regarding Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For the basic physiological needs, you mentioned sex being one of them, and I was wondering if you would elaborate on this. Please forgive me as this isn't exactly a health question, but I would really like some deeper clarification if possible, as I've struggled for years with knowing how exactly to relate to sex and intimacy. I'm 32 years old and I've been disconnected from intimacy and sex. I seem to always be asking myself if this is what's healthiest for me. I don't know what the answer is. Can you please explain why sex is of the basic physiological needs? Of course, it's needed for procreation, but is it actually needed and necessary to be balanced, healthy being, climbing the pyramid of self-actualization? I would really love to hear your thoughts. Like I mentioned above, I've been confused about this for years. Thanks. Bridgette, thank you for writing in. If people don't know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just go to stephencabral.com/podcast. You know what? I'll do it along with you right now. So stephencabral.com/podcast. And let's just type in, there can't be that many podcasts on Maslow, right? So let's just type in the word Maslow. This will be a good exercise. Well, I got to spell Maslow correctly. Maslow. There we go. All right. Episode 2404 talked about it. 23. There's apparently more than I thought on this. What's being enlightened really means based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's 1676. But there's an original one. And it is on I knew it was going to be the first year because it's so important. I think it really is. Episode 275. I recorded this in 2016, the very first year I had the podcast. And basically, so that's the very first one if you want to go to that. But basically, we have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the first is the physiological needs of the human body. And this is basic things that are really, really important. And I think that it's important to actually call these out because, what does a human being need? They need air, they need water, they need food, they need shelter, they need clothing. And yes, sex is part of that as well. And then you start to move up the hierarchy. I won't go through that, but then it's like about safety, security, a job, like actual resources. So the first one is just to stay alive. Like that's all that it is. And it's what's hardwired inside of us. So like find shelter, find food, get sleep, and then procreate. Like that's hardwired inside of us. There's no doubt about it, or humans would not continue to be here on this earth, right? Like that's part of the entire animal-based kingdom. Like that's what's hardwired into us. Now, Bridgette, I will share with you this though. I don't know, again, if there's trauma in your past, it's very, very different, right? So that's why I always try to be sensitive to everyone's situation and where they're coming from. Because trauma in your past can cause you to disassociate from some of these basic physiological needs. So that's the first part. And if that's the case, I definitely recommend, I don't think that there's any stigma that should be attached to working with a good therapist or two and working on figuring out, was there some type of trauma? Is there trauma? Because maybe there's not. Like maybe there's not. Maybe you just look at life differently, and that matters. Because as you move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs and you start getting to the esteem, right? But you move beyond that, you start getting to self-actualization, which is very difficult for more people. And that's like letting go of the ego. Then sex does actually not become as important. So it's very interesting because in the beginning, it's one of those basic physiological needs, meaning like of the body, like the body craves that. But as you get up to the highest level, you look at it differently and you're okay. So the thing is, like I always say about self-actualization and like at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs or enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, is that you're okay either way. Like you're okay if there is, sexual intimacy, you're okay if there's not. That's the interesting thing when you get to the top. But if you haven't got anywhere close to that yet, then there might be something suppressed. Again, not giving you any type of medical diagnosis or treatment plan or anything like that, but it is worth looking into. All right, so hopefully that's a good start. And then, of course, you can tune back to those previous shows as well. Just type in Maslow at stephencabral.com/podcast, and you'll find all the different shows associated with that. Okay, Sarah's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all that you do. I've learned so much from you. I have a friend whose son has been diagnosed with Perthes disease. I can't find anything on this, and I wondered what your thoughts were on it. And what would you do if you or your daughter, that Boston accent is coming out. I think it's because I've been speaking all day. And so it's funny, I start to slide a little bit. And it's funny because I can notice it and catch it now as well. All right. I don't know how to pronounce the word, but Perthes disease. But essentially what's happening is that there's, to my knowledge, it is a biomechanical inborn malformation of the hip bones. That's the extent of my knowledge to it. And so I should say it's the lower hip, and there is a circulatory issue component to it. There is a potential numbness-based issue, potential malformation there. But again, I'm not an expert in that. And I always like to let you know where my expertise does not fall. And so this is one that I think that it would be best if you consulted with, no matter what, obviously get opinions, but that you consulted with a good orthopedic doctor or medical professional on, and what your options may be. Because let me just see if you said that this was a younger child, and I believe that you said it was, right? You have a friend whose son has been diagnosed with it. Okay. And so again, I don't even know the treatment plan that would take place. I'm sure it's surgical in nature. I would be asking the questions, okay, like a hip replacement. I'm not saying that this is what it is, but a hip replacement doesn't last forever, right? So it lasts, 15, 20 years or so. Same with a knee replacement. Will this surgery have to be ongoing? What happens when they grow? During puberty, are there going to have to be multiple surgeries in order to take place? So these are just questions that I look up, I gather research on, and then I would speak with one or two or three. Whenever surgery is taking place, I would always recommend speaking with at least one or two other opinions to say, does this need to take place? Is there anything cutting edge that we don't know about yet, et cetera? So I wish I could be of more help, but I always want to let you know, that is orthopedic surgery is out of my realm of expertise. Okay. Sarah is up next. Looks like a different Sarah, spelled differently at least. Hey, Sarah, or says, hey, Dr. Cabral. Now Siri, of course, is popping on. I'm all set. Thank you, Siri. Hey, Dr. Cabral, what do you think about using castor oil while you're in the sauna for additional detox support combined with heat? I would have no problem, Sarah, with you using castor oil while in the sauna whatsoever. Detoxification support, yeah. I mean, especially if it's on a compress. So I would have no problem with you using castor oil while in a sauna. What I would say, though, is this. It'll probably work better as a compress because castor oil works better as a compress. That means usually you're using flannel, the material flannel, and you're adding the castor oil either to the skin or the flannel, and you're keeping it on top. And that allows more of a drawing action. It always works better that way. Very infrequently is castor oil ever used without the compress because it helps draw it into the compress, out of the body, away from the skin. And then you can heat up, that flannel will heat up in the sauna as well. And then you can obviously just discard of that. So I think that would be great. Keep in mind too, you'll probably want to use the flannel on top. Castor oil is very, very thick, very messy. It's fantastic, but very, very messy. And the other way that castor oil is used, just for people's knowledge, is on the hair to help with hair growth. And then you don't need the compress on top. You can actually just rub it into your scalp. But again, very thick, very messy, but excellent. Okay. Tamara's up next. And if you want to check out my podcast on castor oil packs, please do feel free to do that on a previous podcast. And if you ever can't find one, after you've done the search at stephencabral.com/podcast, just feel free to ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. What do you think for a postmenopausal woman taking strontium? My doctor recommended it after my bone density came back borderline for osteoporosis. I'm now taking CalMag and DNS Shake every day along with this product. Wondering what your thought about this product versus your bone supplement. Thanks for everything you do. Yeah, I have no problem with using strontium. I think it can be excellent for bone support, no doubt about it. You need your calcium, you need your magnesium, you need your vitamin K2, you need your vitamin D3. We have these pretty much in the daily bone support supplement, and then you're getting an additional K2 in your daily nutritional support shake. CalMag is fantastic. That's the product that we recommend in our practice, and then you can always use additional magnesium on top of that. So you're on the right path for sure. Daily bone support. We use that in our practice along with the daily nutritional support and additional vitamin D on a daily basis, typically 3,000 to 4,000 IU for most adult women. All right. Again, no medical treatment plans, medical advice, medical cures or diagnosis, but that's what we do in our practice. And that's, of course, what I recommend to family. All right. Rob is up next. Rob says, "Hi, Doc. I hope you can help me as I've been feeling very confused lately. I've run all of my labs and I've done all protocols. I did a 21-day detox. I did the CBO, heavy metal. I take my daily nutritional support, omega-3, vitamin D, CalMag, and zinc every day. I'm 32 years old. I'm a Vata Pitta. I eat mostly plant-based with approximately 60 grams of protein every day, all organic. My labs show high estrogen and adrenal phase 3 burnout. I have a corporate job, so I'm not surprised about the burnout, and I've been making some lifestyle changes such as quitting strength training for now and just doing yoga and 10,000 steps a day and 1 hour meditation every day. So I'm working hard to elevate those cortisol levels again, but I'm confused about the high estrogen. I probably eat soy twice a week from tofu, but that's pretty much, it says that's pretty much probably it. And I'm not really exposed to any xenoestrogens since everything at home is natural. No estrogen-based red meat either. Help. Okay. Yeah, Rob, happy to help with this. So we see this, again, not all the time, but we see hundreds of thousands of labs a year. And so like we just get a very large sample size. And okay, so high stress job, Vata Pitta body type, was strength training, 32 years old, doing great on supplements, doing great on protocols. So the body's pretty clean, right? But it's continuing to be in more of a catabolic state. So even though you're Vata Pitta, think more Vata-based state for your Vikruti, right? So there's the Prakriti and the Vikruti. Prakriti is like your genotype, your genes, and your Vikruti is your phenotype, like what you become, where you're at right now in your life, right? So high stress, catabolic, I agree. Like strength training is still great, but probably twice a week for you, right? And then a full body workout, not completely destroying your body, breaking it down. And you can do a great strength training workout, 20, 30 minutes. There's no doubt about it. It's all about recovery. So we need to make sure you're getting more sleep. You didn't mention your sleep. As a Vata, 8.5, 9 hours, right? 7 to 9 hours for humans. Vata, high stress, 8.5 to 9, right? Closer to that. Making sure that you're not overdoing your intermittent fasting. That's another level of stress, right? So 12 hours, maybe 14. What else are we looking at? You didn't mention the adrenal soothe, so that we're going to probably be using adrenal soothe and magnesium for you. You wrote down CalMag, that's fine, but you might need additional magnesium before bed, as well as maybe even the complete sleep protocol with a little bit of liquid melatonin and the adrenal soothe. Okay, lifestyle, the 10,000 steps is great. Hour of meditation, great. But you know what? Again, like make sure it's sticking though. Like make sure it's actually calming your central nervous system. I'll be talking about it more in the future, but the Hanu app and way to track heart rate variability is fantastic, best out there right now. So I'll definitely be doing a podcast review on that, probably not till January, but I'm certainly going to be doing that because you need to see what is causing you the most stress during the day, like what during your job, and you'll be able to then track it that way. It's fantastic, really, really great. Okay, now the last part is the estrogen. Well, when you're stressed, men, sometimes women, but men convert a lot of DHEA to testosterone, then to estrogen or to dihydrotestosterone. So it can cause hair loss, or it can cause gynecomastia, or it can cause just higher level of estrogen, which is going to lead to a lower mood or anxiety or overwhelm or irritability, lack of drive and ambition, or just, that part of it's part of it sometimes, but it's more like your mood is off. And so what we need to do, we could use estrogen balance. So of course you'll use estrogen balance. You'll continue eating all the great foods you are, but it really comes down to modulating stress in your life. Like that's such a big part of it, okay? So you're on the right track. You've got your supplements down. You've got your diet down. You've got your exercise pretty much down. We need to get into more of the 3 parts of the de-stress protocol that are more lifestyle, very, very lifestyle based. The emotional balance, right? The success mindset, and the stress part. And I would even add then the sleep. So that's like 3.5 parts. So you've got like you've got more than half of it, but now we have to work on those last few parts. All right. So we are at our time today, 20 minutes. For me, it flies by. I hope it does for you as well. I love recording this podcast for our community. It really is something that I very much enjoy. So I appreciate you. I thank you. And I'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it, everybody. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.